Hey there. How you guys doing? I hope you're doing well today. Well, it's Wednesday and it's time for me to come in and chat with you just a little bit. So let's see if everything's working and you guys can see me and I can see your comments. Because I don't want to miss anything that you're saying. Let's see. My name is Anita Gibson. I am a coach, speaker, educational strategist, and the author of the book Starfinder. And today I want to talk about, yes, you can homeschool. And we're going to talk today about what to do with the fear. Because I've been talking with a couple of you, and there is a lot of fear out there. And I get it. I can understand why you would be afraid, thinking about taking your child's education into your own hands, afraid about what is it going to be like with them all day long at home together, afraid about, will I be enough? Can I really do this? Look, we're not trying to replace professional teachers, right? Because they have gone to school, they've gotten their education. But, you are an expert. You have a degree in your child. And you've been teaching them ever since they were born. In fact, they've heard your voice and learned your voice when they were still in utero. And so, as you're thinking about taking on this homeschool journey, that fear thing keeps coming up. I know. And that's what I want to talk about tonight. All right, I'm trying to see if I'm showing up. Oh, you know what? I think I'm in the wrong place. I'm over in Simply Homeschool, our group, instead of on my regular page. Okay, there we go. All right. So, what to do with the fear? So, the definition for fear is an unpleasant emotion caused by the belief that someone or something is dangerous and likely to cause pain or threat. And boy, this COVID is definitely has definitely come in to cause fear, to cause us to be concerned about our children getting COVID, to cause us to wonder if the school opens back up, do I really feel comfortable with my child being in that environment and entrusting someone else to making sure that they're safe? And for some of you, the answer is no. And yet you still sit in fear. And I just want to encourage you today that fear is normal. And when you're taking on what you're taking on, it's okay for there to be some level of fear. I actually think it's healthy because it's saying that I get that this is serious and I need to take it very carefully. I need to think about what I'm going to do. And so, yeah, I'm fearful. I'm fearful that I might not do everything the way I'm supposed to. I'm fearful that my child might not get everything they need. But in the day that we're in, it's not up to us. COVID just kind of came on the scene, and guess what? Now we have to respond to it. And so we can. And so for some of you, the response is, I'm going to homeschool. And that looks very different for different people. Some people will do the at-home learning with their school, and they will add, to it. Some people will actually start their own programs and have their own curriculums for the things that they want their children to learn. It will all be totally and completely different, depending on a lot of variables, like if you are a working mom, if you work in the home, if you work outside of the home, if you're a single mom. And I think tonight I really want to I want to acknowledge the fear. I don't want to shame you because you're afraid. I think that's not a bad thing. But I want you to open your mind just a little bit. See, we're in the midst of a revolution. Yeah, that's what I said, a revolution. Things are changing at such a rapid level. And I believe some of those things will never go back to the way that they were. I believe that things are going to be created in the educational world that are going to open up possibilities for people that they never even thought of before. So my challenge to you as you're watching this video is to open your mind. If you are saying things to yourself like, I can't do it, no, not me, it's impossible, I want you just for a moment to open your mind to the possibility that what you think it is not that at all. What do I mean by that? Homeschool is going to be completely different for each family, depending on the resources that you have available, depending on the support that you have. All those things will determine what your homeschool looks like. And it's not to try to be like anyone else. So I can tell you, just in the groups that I'm in, that if I was a new homeschool mom, I would be feeling discouraged. Because in my brain, there's so much out there. And people are talking about this and that. And in my mind, because I'm new, I would be assuming, oh, that's the way it's supposed to be done. No! It's supposed to be done the way that God has resourced your family. Like in our county, they made a decision today that from September to December, school's online. So that means that now parents have to come up with a solution, right? For what to do. And I know that has to bring some fear. But I challenge you, because if it is coming to us, then God is going to help us get through it. He's going to give us the wisdom that we need to be able to do it. And so tonight, today, whenever you're watching this, I want you just to open up your brain. Just for a minute, sit with me with the possibility that you can homeschool and you can do it well. Whether you are at home, whether you're working on the outside, whether you're working at home, that this is a possibility. So let me tell you a story. There was a man named Noah, and he had an assignment from God. It was to build an ark. It was to build an ark because the rain was coming. And that in that time, in that culture, they had never seen rain. And so as he began to build the ark, this place of safety in the storm, the people made fun of him. They said, "You're crazy. What are you talking about rain? It's never rained before." Sound kind of familiar? Like COVID? Just shut the whole thing down? But they said, "We've never seen rain. That's foolish. You're preparing an ark. It's not going to ever happen." But one day, the rain came. And when it came, Noah was ready because he had obeyed and he had built that ark. And the animals went in and his family went in, and they were safe when the storm came. We are in a storm. It's a COVID storm. And God is giving us instruction on how to build an ark. so our children will be safe. We, as the parents, are Noah, and we are the ones that are preparing this place in our homes so that our children will be able to get through this COVID storm. And so God would not ask us to do something that he would not provision us for, that he would not give us the resources for. So we are going to have to start thinking radically in this storm. Let me just check and make sure I don't have anybody asking me any questions, and I'll go back and look later. We're going to have to start thinking radically in this storm. This is the kind of storm that means we might have to downsize. This is the kind of storm that means I'm a single mom. I need to find another single mom. We need to go ahead and live in the same house together so we can help each other. This is the kind of storm that, yeah, I know I'm living all the way over on the other side of the world and have been probably for most of my life, but now I might need to have to move where grandma is so that she can help us with our children. This is that kind of storm, guys. This is the kind of storm where we have to say to our bosses, look, you know what's going on with the school. What and how can we work this out so that I can help take care of my children and I can work? Because I know I still need to get my work done, but I also need to take care of my children. That's the storm we're in. We're in a place now where we have to take our mindset and shift it to a whole nother place. This is almost like being in a war where you just do what you have to do. And you're thinking to yourself, but I don't have any patience with my children. It's okay. God is going to give you what you need as you are willing to accept this challenge. As you are willing to say, okay, God, I'm ready to do this. He's waiting for you to say yes and stop wavering back and forth. I'm talking to some of the moms. One week, yes, I want to do it. The next week, no, I don't, because you're afraid. I understand. But at some point, and it has to be very soon, moms, you have to go ahead and say yes to whatever it is that God is telling you so that you have time to be able to put things in order. Because that is one of the things you need to have a successful school at home. All right. This is an opportunity for us to grow in our parenting. I know I've heard some parents say, my kids, they don't listen. And you know what I learned? I had to become consistent in my expectation. And then they began to listen. Because I began to expect them to listen. And I began to put things in place like let's turn off the electronics, put down the phone, turn off the TV and the laptop when I want to give instruction. I wanted to make sure that I had their full attention. I wanted to give them things in bite-sized pieces. So it's not do this and then do that and do the other. But can you please just do this and then come back to me? I had to learn to stop using my voice, because I was a yeller, to get compliance. Because the moment I raised my voice, the focus of whatever it was my heart was trying to tell them about, even if it was just cleaning up, the focus went to the level of my voice and not the fact that you guys told me that you cleaned up and it's not clean. So that I could get to the heart of the matter, you must keep your word. If you say that you did something, then you should do it. And so those are the things that as a parent, if we're struggling with, we don't have order in our home, those are the things you want to work on. For this next month, as you are preparing, it's not just a curriculum, in the schedule, and those things are important, but it's also creating an environment in your home where your children will listen to you. And it's more about you than it is about them. Because most of them, this is how I know, because most of them will go to school and they'll behave for the most part with the teacher, which means they can behave with you. But you have to get creative. You have to get down to their level. You have to lower your voice. You have to have a heart to say, okay, I'm here, fully present with you. You will be amazed at how your child will respond to you when they know that they are the focus. Now, they can't be the focus all day, right? You have to work, you have other things you have to do, you have to take care of the house. But when there is a segment of their time when they know that you are focused in on them, it makes such a difference in their behavior. Wow, Yamali is asking, have you worked with families that have almost 50-50 custody? How do you work with that? That's a really good question. When you are trying to co-parent, it's really important that you're both parents are on the same page, because it's already hard on a regular day. But now we're talking about COVID, it makes it even harder. However, if I was in a situation and I was co-parenting and the one parent wanted to do it differently than me, I think that we would sit down and we would have a talk about, so what are your thoughts about how we're going to be consistent? And it's not the best idea, but we might have to have two different plans. We might have to, when they go over here, this is what they're doing. And then when they come to me, or if they're willing, maybe I put together a plan, and can you just allow them to follow it? And I would check in to see, okay, how are things going, guys? I would give the students, the kids, incentives so that if the parent is not as focused in or not keeping up at a level that is comfortable for you, that the children would be able to input, okay, this is where we are, this is how far I got on my math, those kind of things. I don't know if anybody else has any thoughts on that, but please feel free to share them in the chat. Does that help at all, Yamali? Stacy said, we are called to teach our children. Kids don't come wired to naturally do what we expect of them. I believe that's the gift we are called to be faithful in teaching them. Exactly. And so as stressful as this COVID storm is, God, I believe, is using it to bring families back together, to help us to grow in our parenting, to begin to put things in place so that what we expect, our children will begin to deliver. Now, it's a process. If it's not something you've been doing, it's going to take time. You have to do one thing at a time. In fact, you might even need to be coached yourself on, okay, well, how in the world do I do this? Because I made a lot of errors along the way. But in time, I was able to get to my children's heart about things because God showed me how to lead them and how to guide them. So let's see. So God has resourced us to have the things that we need. Sometimes we're not even aware that they're there. So we may have to do radical things. We may have to sell the car or downsize or move in with another family member, or two single moms move in together, as I said earlier. I just want you to start thinking outside the box. Like, what can you do to not just survive COVID, but to thrive? and to get yourself to a place where you simplify your life so that the things that are really important, like your kids, because I know you love them dearly, that you can really focus in on that, even if you're working, even in the midst of turmoil, even in the midst of struggle where everybody's not on the same page. God will help you get through it. But you got to come to it. You have to stop wavering back and forth. You have to say, okay, this homeschool thing, yeah, this is what I'm going to be doing. So how can I do it well? Because God's not asking you to do something that's impossible. Now, it might be impossible if you're on your own. But if you are walking with Him, He is going to be there with you. And He's going to give you wisdom. He's going to give you people around you that can help you to know what to do. We're going to get through this COVID storm. In Jesus' name, He is going to help us. So let me be honest with you. I think if you can do these 4 things, even though you're afraid, you'll be fine. 1, you have to work on your communication skills. You have to train your children to listen to you more quickly. You have to, 2, bring the yelling, so still 1, bring the yelling down. And Yamali, I haven't forgotten you. You got to bring that yelling down if that's an issue for you. And that's actually a whole nother live, because for me, the yelling was about feeling uncomfortable and out of control. And so the yelling helped me to feel better because it brought the kids into control. But it was really about my own doubts, my own fears. 2, you have to have some level of organization. See, when you walk into a room and there's stuff all around, your brain processes all that stuff every time you walk into the room. Have you ever cleaned up a room and it was just like, that feels so good? Because your brain doesn't have to process all of that. And so I was not a very organized person. I was a messy. And it was really bad there for a while. And so I had to work on getting better at it. When we first started, the only qualification I gave the kids was the living room had to be clean enough for if someone knocked on the door, they could walk in and sit down and we could offer them a glass of water. That was the best I could do when I started out. But I realized I needed more organization. So I had to put systems in place, even for a messy. Since we were kind of messy, I had lots of cabinets around that the homeschool stuff could go in and you close the door because it wasn't always neat. And so a schedule, you just don't want to get up any old time, but have some type of measure for it. We're going to get up and we're going to put our clothes on. That helped us to know it shifted for the kids. Okay, pajamas off. It's time to work on school. And then the schedule can be loose. It can be free. You want a framework, and then you roll along that framework. And if things change, then it's okay. Then you do something different. So the second thing is you got to have some level of organization. And if you start with just your school area and declutter it so there's not stuff all around, it will help you tremendously. The third thing you need to be successful at homeschool, in spite of the fear, is support. You need to be a part of groups. You need to have a mentor. You need to have somebody you can just call and say, what in the world am I doing? You need to have a friend who's in your corner who believes in this homeschool thing, because some of your family and some of your friends think you're crazy. However, in this season we're in right now, many of us don't have a choice, right? Because our county, our state, may not even be open in the fall. And so the fourth thing you need is God. And that's really the first thing, is to depend on God. I don't know how to tell someone to homeschool well without a relationship with Jesus Christ. Because for me, If it was not for him, I would have lost my mind a long time ago. And so if you have those 4 things and you're checking in with the Lord and asking him for wisdom, and you have wise counsel around you, I'm telling you, in spite of your fear, you will be just fine. So there is a link that's going to go into the comments that will help you if you're a working mom. It's a great website, and it will give you amazing tips and things just to help you figure it out. And I want to share a verse, but before I do that, oh, Rodney, he said Miss Gibson is a true homeschool expert. Rodney is one of our graduates, actually, from our program called Shabak, and he is doing amazingly well. He's just one of our star students, and we're so proud of him. Just so pleased with what God is doing in his life. Thanks, Rodney, for coming in and sharing. Yamali, you say, yeah, I got you. Okay. We'll talk. I'll call you, Yamali, and we'll talk more. So, Michelle, this infinite information is so needed to soothe the parent that has been forced to homeschool. Yes. Sure, it can be a challenge. God has given all that we need. Yep. Parents need to calm down. That's it. That's why I'm here. Calm down and trust. We did it for many, many years, and over time it became a simple way of life. Oh, thank you for that. Yes, yes. Calm down, parents. That's the message I believe God is saying. You can do this. He is with you. And I have a verse that I want to share as I close out. And let's see what that verse is. I think there was another comment that I didn't want to miss. Let's see. So the last thing I wanted to share is Deuteronomy 31:6. And it says, be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or terrified because of them. For the Lord your God goes with you. He will never leave you or forsake you. Amen. All right, so I'm just about done. I'm still trying to check and make sure that I didn't miss any comments. Natalie, can you let me know if there's a comment that I missed? I want to make sure that I catch them all. Let's see. All right, guys. So why can't I see all the comments? Okay. Well, I'm hoping that I got everyone's comments. I see. Okay, good. Thank you, Natalie. I see that the verse is there for you to remember. And I'll be back to comfort and encourage you. You're not alone. We're here as well to help you in this amazing journey called homeschool. I love you guys.